pretty sweet. So how are you? How's
Good?
things? How's
Yeah, things is
things?
good.
Things is good. You ready
Things
to
is
reveal things to us here?
okay. Yes, yes, I will reveal all of the things. Maybe not all of the things,
Not
but
all. We don't need all
some
of the
of the
things.
things.
Some of the things.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna do it in reverse order. I think from what I sent to you
Okay.
because I want to talk first about like 91 illustrations.
Yes.
That's amazing. Like
Well, I mean, like what I mean, like I want to downplay this
I
because like yes,
understand.
sounds super impressive, but some of them took like 15 minutes to do, so
I
um
don't care.
okay. That's cool. I mean, thank you
With
for being impressed. Made me feel
Well,
good.
I am impressed. I am impressed just because, I mean, that is totally a foundation of success, right? In art is prolific production. The more you
Yeah.
make, the more you can sell. The quicker you can be, the more profit there is on it. It sounds very not magical and arty, but
Uh-huh.
that's the bottom line, right? So,
Right. And I
now,
mean,
sorry.
oh no, I was just thinking about it, like thinking about all of the stuff that I did and just, some of it was, I don't know, actually a lot of it was for print on demand, so
Well, I
I don't know,
wanted
I
to
feel pretty good about
ask, how much, like, did you notice a difference? And did you do okay, so two questions. A, were you on a schedule? Did you have in mind the idea, like, I'm gonna put out, one new piece a week on print on demand, or I'm gonna put out something new every, like, three times a month, or did you have a plan, or is this just how it all kind of happened? And did you notice an upswing in sales and interest and audience, like print on demand and kind of social media, because you were producing so much?
it. Okay, well, a couple of things
All the
happened.
questions.
Right, yeah. So, in terms of audience, like noticing audience, particularly online, is really difficult to gauge last year because of what happened in January, where I ended up on Tumblr Radar. Um, like
Oh,
right
what's
at
that? I don't even know what
okay,
that is. I
like
suck at Tumblr. I'm suck at Tumblr. It's true.
um shortly after or like during the first like the 3 weeks during which Sherlock was showing in the UK, I drew a picture of Sherlock wearing a stupid hat, and it ended up on Tumblr Radar. And
Nice.
it happened between like midnight and 4 a.m. my time, and I'm like getting ready to go to bed, and all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And like it just brrr, likes and reblogs, and people are following me, and what the fuck is going on?
That's
Um,
awesome.
so that happened, and it was like a total anomaly, and it doesn't have a whole lot of bearing on just about everything else that happened for the rest of the year, but it was very exciting at the time. So I mean, and then like that happened, and then everything went back to the way it was. And
Okay.
my growth has been slow and steady. Like I post a thing, maybe get a new follower, like that sort of thing. So like it hasn't changed a whole lot, but it has changed a whole lot because that happened. Um, as far as posting stuff to print on demand on a regular schedule, my initial plan was, yeah, I'm going to do a new thing every week. And once I started doing shows and cons and stuff, all the stuff that I didn't plan on doing at the beginning of the year, like when I wrote out, like, here's how 2014 is going to go.
Right.
And none of that stuff was involved because I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. And then I did it anyway because yeah. I stopped posting stuff to print on demand like third quarter. Like I checked my records. I didn't do anything in third quarter for print on
Okay.
demand, and
Okay.
my sales tanked. So
So
yes,
definitely connected. So
absolutely.
you got to keep breathing life into the bellows kind of thing.
Yeah. And they tell you that, like, Cafe Press is really explicit about that. Like they'll tell you like you need to post in order to keep your score up. They score you based on like this set of criteria, and One of them is you need to be producing regular content at least like once every 3 months or something like that.
Okay.
Which, you know, I mean, that should be super easy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if you're kind of committed to making that happen. So, you know, in that quarter where I didn't do anything, it was the first time I've ever seen my score drop because
Ah,
because I just fell right off, and I'm like, oh, I
right.
haven't. I've been so kind of, you know, I was doing art market and I was doing Sherlock Con all at the same time, and I was just learning about resin, and that was what I was focused on. And then all of a sudden, my score dropped on Cafe Press, and I'm like, oh God, I gotta post anything.
Yeah, right, because
And
that's not print on demand. All the resin stuff is like physical ship products.
hmm
Huh, okay.
yeah, and that was that. I mean, that was such a lark, and I got so obsessed with it. Um,
But that's
and
good. That's quality.
yeah, and it's fun, and it's like, uh, it- yeah, I'm really glad I went on that lark.
Well, they're
Like,
really cute. And I
well,
told
thank you.
you, like, more otter. Otter.
Yes, more otter.
More
Yeah,
otter. I
otter
felt
has
like
been
such a I felt like such a fucking nagging ass everywhere you turned on social media. More otter. More
oh
otter.
no, dude, I thought it was hilarious. I was
Just I
like,
want
otters
one
are
of
one of
those
my,
so bad. It was
they're like one
so
of my
cute.
guys. Like,
Oh, they're
otters are one of my, like,
one of
you know,
your
like the owl is one of my guys. Like the otter is also one of my guys. So he's definitely in line.
well, they're
So that'll
awesome.
happen. It's just, you know, right now this is your otter. Right now he's a cube.
Oh,
So
I have hope for him. He's cute and little. He'll be
yeah.
mine. He will be mine.
Oh yes, so yes, he will be mine. But I gotta, yeah, I gotta make an investment in some equipment there first because
Like what?
it's so yeah. Resin is it's a really expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Um, like you can either do it where you just, you know, pour stuff into a mold and everything's full of bubbles, which is basically what I did with the cats and the bunnies and all of that, and
Right.
it's fine. It actually kind of looks neat, like they look a little bit like soda, but I want to, you know, I mean, I get into it and learn what all the cool kids are doing, how they get the bubbles out. You need like an air compressor and a vacuum chamber and all of that stuff. And I want to do this thing with glow in the dark stuff, and like that's really expensive. So I want to do quality, and if I want to do it with quality materials, then I got to, you know, like actually do the production with quality in mind. So
Right. Right.
I'm working on that. But
Well,
that's part of my thing now. Like that's just become another thing that I'm doing
revenue
because
streams.
hmm yeah, and just because it's really exciting and it makes me excited, and like bringing them to art market and having like the little tower of things and having like little kids go, you know, and having like adults do that too.
Yeah.
It's like the best thing ever.
Well, I can see
So,
it. Look at you. Look how passionate you are. And I mean, I'm sold, literally,
right?
right? And I totally get it. I love them. I love them.
Yeah.
Um,
And I've
now,
always wanted to make toys.
what,
That's been
what about, is it all clear resin? Or is there opaque resin? And then if it's opaque, do you have to paint them? At that
hmm
point, like, that's a lot of process.
It is,
And
but
they're all
like
handmade.
every step of it is really, really fun and fascinating, and it's so messy. And it's just it like I took over our dining table for months. For months, we were eating at the coffee table because I took the whole thing over. It was my resin
It was
studio.
all resin.
And by the way, Brad is such a good guy
Is
because he's
this
been so
this your
hmm?
man? The
Yeah, he's
dude?
just so
Oh,
tolerant of everything that I've done all year. Like, it just exploded all over the living room. Like, my
really?
whole world is just, it's just, it's a mess. Everything is a mess, and he's been so great.
Big thank you
Um,
blowjobs. Come on.
yeah, all the time. And he said
All
thank
the
you for
time.
that repeatedly.
Oh, did he?
Um,
Okay.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, he
We
thought that
should
was
make a
hilarious.
card. Just to, or little reminders, little stickers, that magnets. Thank you blowjobs for a job well done. Um,
Um, yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you're
see, this is
welcome,
the other thing
Brad.
that's,
I
right? This is
understand.
this is the other thing that's good about face to face is when I make that yeah sound, like you can actually see my
Yeah,
face,
and
that it's not
it's so much better. It's true. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway.
Okay, well
Um,
that's awesome. That's good.
right. What else did you ask me just now? You said, oh, about like prolificness
You pretty much
and
covered it. So there was
right.
like there was definitely a connection to sales.
Mm-hmm.
And sales dropped when you stopped submitting,
Yeah.
posting and submitting work. But then there was the weirdness with the uh, the Sherlock thing. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
What do you think you took away from that? Like, how many did you keep who are active? Because that's a weird thing with social media when you get
Yeah.
retweeted or reblogged or whatever by someone really popular. There's a
Hmm.
flurry of excitement, but then how many people actually stay engaged? Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Engagement on Tumblr is so weird. Like,
I don't get it, and I've talked to a couple people in the group who are just
hmm
like, "Oh, we don't," and I feel old. Like, honestly, I feel like I'm too old for Tumblr. Like, I don't
yeah.
get it. What are the kids doing? I can't even
Yeah.
really talk to anyone, and it's not about talking. It's about like sharing and moving on, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I
So,
I feel like I don't know. There seem to be two approaches to Tumblr, and there are probably more. This is just, my observations and being involved in like Sherlock fandom. It's young women. It's like
okay,
teenagers and like 20 something women. Um and they handle social media really differently than I do. Like there's a lot of like disclosure. There's a lot of like oversharing that I remember doing. Like I had a blog when I was 19, like a blog as in like
remember
I
those?
I posted
Remember blogs?
HTML pages one after the other, like,
Wow,
I mean, like back in the olden days, um, when, there wasn't like I had a blog before Blogger was a thing.
wow.
Point being, yes, I did overshare on the internet. Thank God that's all gone, and it's not on the Wayback Machine either. Um, but yeah, it I'm not a teenager, and so I don't do that, and so like I can't engage with that. It would be
Right.
weird and creepy if I were to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't really get in there that way. Like I can't make friends on Tumblr that way, but I have made friends on Tumblr with, people who are kind of closer to my age. I shared like a hotel room with a friend of mine who I met on Tumblr. And
Oh,
like that was cool. And there are
yeah.
people who like there's overlap. Like there's a for some reason like Sherlock people and shark people are kind of in the same group. There's an overlap there. I don't know why, but like those are the people that seem to be sticking. Like every time I do sharks, like they get really excited. So that's weird. Um, yeah,
I
I
have
mean, I don't,
nothing to offer to that.
I know. Like
I
I'm not
just,
sure.
I'm like,
I'm not sure I've
okay.
got a reasonable way to like explain strategy for Tumblr other than like post a lot of stuff all the time and hope and tag it well and hope somebody loves it, I
Tag it.
guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it just sounds
And
like do what you really like, and hopefully people will find you who also like those things.
right, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's that. Oh, yeah, also the other thing that made me prolific was every time I had an art market, like I would stay up until like 1 o'clock in the morning the night before painting little tiny paintings.
Oh my
And like
God.
that
How
was
big were the
fun.
paintings? Oh, so adorable.
So, yeah, it's
Okay.
like 3 inch squares.
And
I
okay,
like
so
doing it
how
for show
long?
things.
How long would it take?
30 minutes,
Okay, how much would you sell them for?
$15. And
Okay.
I have two of them left. So I think I did like 6 or 8 of them over the course
It's
of the year. I did all
original
right.
art. Tiny,
Yeah,
tiny original art. Did you make any
really
prints of
tiny.
them?
I didn't because they're real small.
And they
And
wouldn't.
I'm not a very good painter either. So, like, I mean, I'm learning. It's a small investment. It's fun. But they're very impressionistic. They're not very much. They don't fit with the other stuff I'm doing. Other than like,
Right.
I used to paint a lot. I used to paint in oils when I was a teenager. I don't know how my parents let me do that. But anyway, like, um, yeah, I used to paint all the time, and then I stopped because I moved into apartments and it was messy, and so now I'm starting and learning how to paint all over again, and it's weird, but like, yeah, they're too small to make prints out of.
Well,
I might
that's
make a print out of the octopus though. I just have to figure out how to photograph it.
well, that's big, right? Well,
Yeah.
scan
Mhm.
it. Scan it. Don't photograph it. Scan it. Do you have a scanner?
I do. It's not big enough. Like the octopus is 12 by 12 and my scanner is
Doesn't
11
matter.
by 17.
That's
Yeah,
okay. Yeah,
even to
scan
sew it
it.
together.
Well, you don't even, you could photo merge it in Photoshop. That's how I
Yeah.
do, for 4 years, I scanned all of my strips in two pieces and then just photo merged them.
Really? How big were you working?
Um, I was working 9 by 15. No,
Ooh,
no, that's 20. So I was working 9 by 20.
wow.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't realize they
like
were so big.
yeah, it's the freedom of movement for me when I was painting because they're all analog. It's all paint
Hmm.
and ink, and I found to get the line quality that I wanted, I needed to have it big
Yeah, fair enough.
ish. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm working on I'm scripting right now for a new book, and I want to work in double page spreads.
Uh-huh.
And so I've been lying in bed doing math to try and figure out how big the paper has to be to work in double page spreads. And I figured it out. I have to use 18 by 24. Actually stretch 18, like 22 by 30 watercolor paper, and then tape it down to 18 by 24 to work on a double page spread for
Good
like a
Lord.
6 by 9.
Uh-huh.
And then scan it in four pieces, probably.
Nice.
I know, right? I'm like, there's probably a better way, but I don't know what it is.
Right.
Everyone's like,
Yeah.
work digitally. Like, I don't wanna.
Yeah, because it's just got such a different look. It's like these monsters that I'm working on. Like I'm just like there's one rule with them is do 100 of them. Well, there's two rules. Do 100 of them and do them all in real media. Um, and
Nice.
and that's it. And like because it's different and it's I get really reliant on like this situation
Yeah, yeah.
and I really miss working in real media. I miss having stuff. Like working digitally is
Physical.
great,
Yeah, I know. Physical work, physical originals.
and
I'm,
having a stack is just delightful. It's like,
isn't
yay,
it?
I'm
I
doing a
know.
thing.
I know. I
So,
originally thought about doing all the pages and actually stretching the watercolor paper,
mm,
but then I couldn't even conceive of there being 100 stretched watercolor canvases in my house. Do you know what I mean? They would be
oh yeah,
physically in my house. I'm like, no, no, it's got to be single sheets of paper. That's that's like, where do you store your art? Because when it goes to print, it's not like, you know what I
it,
mean? Like,
it doesn't evaporate. You
it
still have
doesn't
to like do
evaporate.
something.
Yeah,
I
right.
know, like I'm at the point where I keep eyeballing like the commercial rentals on Craigslist, being like, well, I could get 100 square foot office and just put some racks, and then I
A
wouldn't have to
rack.
keep this stuff in the house, like
I know, I
that would
know.
be a thing. And like, I'm not there yet, but maybe.
Well, I just have encountered, all my books are in my garage. Okay,
Mm.
so great, except we have mice now in the garage.
Ah, that's the worst.
And I don't know whether they're sleeping in my books.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not willing to check yet. It's cold
yeah,
out there, so I don't want to know.
right.
I'll find out in spring. And, if we're still good, I'm gonna move them inside the house. But right now, I just keep praying to the mice gods that, just I don't know, find something else to use.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny because that happened to us. We have rats. And like our garage is off the house. It's down on the lower part of the property. And yeah, we got rats and we had stored a whole bunch of books out there, like stuff that like we weren't sure we were going to keep, like let's put it in a box and put it away for 6 months and then we'll go and re-examine whether or not we can, either sell, give away or throw out this
Right.
stuff. And the rats got in all the books.
Okay,
So
see,
yeah.
I'm thinking, that's That's not good news for me.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Maybe your mice are less ambitious. So
I don't know. They'd shoot through the rubber, like the actual plastic recycling box corner to
nice.
get into just the recycling. Anyway, look at us. What are we doing? We're talking about fucking mice in our books in the garage. All
It
right.
seems to
We
happen a lot.
we,
Anyway,
we need to get back on track.
yes, good. Sorry.
No, that's my fault. I'm the one that brought up the books in the garage. Everyone think good thoughts about the mice not eating my books though. That's yeah.
Yes.
And the new
But
ones
it
will
was about storing stuff.
it was
Like
about storing stuff.
making
I mean, it's a
making physical
legitimate
work and
thought. Like these are things that they don't teach you about when you're like, "Oh, by the way, you're going to have a house full of art until you sell it."
yeah.
And if it's for
And that's the thing.
print, it's not.
And that was definitely when I lived in an apartment. That was definitely the appeal of going digital. Like
Yeah, for sure.
kind of being in college and not having to, move at the end of every semester with like, a half ton of paper was kind of one of the things that was nice about working digitally.
It's true. It is
But
nice, but I think there's something special about an original piece of analog art. And I
I'll
love
tell
that
you
we
what,
all,
my digital stuff comes out better when it starts physical. Like
yeah,
things that are based on physical sketches that I scan and then do, even if I'm doing it in Illustrator with my vectors that I get obsessed about,
yeah.
they still come out better if they start with a drawn line.
Interesting. That's
So, I mean,
interesting.
and that may not, your mileage may vary or whatever, but like that's been my experience so far.
Interesting. That makes
Yeah.
sense.